Hi there, and welcome to the channel of A Disappointed Man with me, Jason Kennedy, the Disappointed Man, and it is time for another tag video. I've very kindly been tagged by Aaron Facer once again, and this time the name is The Body Tag. It was created by Brandon's Bookshelf. Thank you, Brandon. Link in the description below, and there are 10 prompts. However, I've added a further to myself. I feel there are two body parts Brandon neglected, the eye and the ear, so they will also feature. I'll say right at the beginning that you could choose Shakespeare for each of these prompts. He would be the universal man of parts. However, I have not chosen him for any of these, just bear that in mind. Let's get started. Number 1, brain, intellect. I've been rather greedy here, and I've chosen 4. 1 to represent the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. Okay, so my 17th century brain is Sir Thomas Browne, who not only wrote his beautiful essays, but he helped to create the English language. He coined so many new words, such as electricity, for example, and his Urn Burial is an absolute masterpiece of English prose. He was a great polymath. In the 18th century, Samuel Johnson, he didn't create words, but he helped to regularize their meanings and their spellings with his great dictionary project. The 19th century, I've chosen Thomas de Quincey, one of my absolute favorite writers. He goes on an inward journey, and he really does write about the mind in a way that no one had, perhaps, up until that point, and he does prefigure many of the ideas of Sigmund Freud, a great writer on the subject of the mind. And in the 20th century, I'll go with Aaron's choice of Jorge Luis Borges. I didn't say it very well, did I? Yes, he does something absolutely fantastic. He just has this limitless imagination. He builds upon all of the knowledge up to that point and just projects it outwards forever in his short stories. Like, what is it? The Library of Babel. Great work. If you haven't read them, please do. Next, we have the mouth or voice. Here I've chosen Samuel Beckett. If you go to art school, it's almost certain that you'll encounter his classic theatre piece, Not I, which is just an illuminated mouth. And there was a great BBC production of this with Billy Whitelaw, has the great refrain in it, the brain. Yes, you'll know what I'm talking about. And there's also his great play, and there was also a production of this which is up on YouTube. I'll link to both of these, and it has Alan Rickman, Juliet Stevenson, and Kristin Scott Thomas, and they're in jars, and you can only see their heads, and they're kind of babbling away. It's extraordinary what Samuel Beckett was able to do with the human voice, and so I'll choose him there. Heart and feeling, I've chosen a pair. I've been very greedy on this video. My first one is Zora Neale Hurston. Regular viewers of the channel will know of my unqualified admiration for this writer, and the heart, the feeling, the strength of the emotion in her works. It's just I haven't found anything else quite like it. However, I do have a rival, and that is D.H. Lawrence. He also exhibits this amazing knowledge of the human heart and ability to communicate strong feeling. The next one, the arm, strength. I could have just looked at maybe physical strength here, but I've gone more for kind of moral strength. And I think looking through English literary history, there is one figure, perhaps Johnson, who towers even above Johnson in my eyes, and that is Blake. The ability to keep producing one's art in the face of ridicule and in straitened financial circumstances. He had the support of his good wife as well. And I think I have a few lines from Blake as well. The strength in his verse as well. Here, this is from the Book of Urizen. I'll try and read it for you. The voice ended. They saw his pale visage emerge from the darkness, his hand on the rock of eternity unclasping the book of brass. Rage seized the strong. Rage, fury, intense indignation, in cataracts of fire, blood and gall, in whirlwinds of sulphurous smoke, and enormous forms of energy, in living creations appeared, in the flames of eternal fury, sundering, darkening, thundering, rent away with a terrible crash. Eternity rolled wide apart, wide asunder rolling, mountainous all around, departing, 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 leaving ruinous fragments of life, hanging, frowning cliffs, and all between, an ocean of voidness unfathomable. I love this Blake poetry where you feel like you're at the beginning of the creation of the world, like he has a ringside seat there, all the fire and all these elemental forces. So Blake for strength. Next, the elbow, I guess, the humour, the funny bone. I'll choose Saki, who I've already mentioned numerous times as one of the funniest writers ever, Saki. His short story, The Mouse, if you just want to have a taste, just look it up. It's freely available. Then I'll choose Flann O'Brien, who's quite well known. I think there was a TV show called Lost, where they featured the Third Policeman by Flann O'Brien as part of the storyline, and then it became really popular again. But the Third Policeman is really good. It has a kind of Alfred Jarry influence, and here's the third one I'm going to choose. Here's The Life and Opinions of Dr. Faustroll. I'm going to do a video about at some point, but I'm just howling with laughter reading that. And Flann O'Brien has a scientist called the Selby, who's kind of in the vein of Jarry's pataphysics. Okay, so they're very good for humour. Stomach. I was thinking about this, and then I really did find the perfect answer here. It's Rabelais. It's his Gargantua and Pantagruel. It's a classic of 16th century French literature. Is this obscure or not? I'm not sure. You tell me below in the comments. It was introduced to me by a professor when I reached art college, and I came from my little Midlands village, and she was 3 firsts in one for me. She was a feminist, she was a lesbian, and she was French. So I was incredibly impressed by her. She was so stern, but she had a kind of cheeky kind of humour on occasion as well. She was a wonderful person, and she introduced me to Gargantua and Pantagruel and the work of Rabelais. And if you're not sure what it might be, it was a formative influence on Gulliver's Travels and the life and opinions of Tristram Shandy. So, but it's much more monumental than either of those works. It's great. The next one, number 7, The Groin Romance. I'm going to leave romance to one side and just tackle the groin. And here I would pick Genet. And actually, maybe there is a lot of romance in Genet too. He combines this male and female kind of principle most effectively, in my eyes, in the form of Divine in Our Lady of the Flowers. And yes, for the fertility, for the generative quality of the sexual organs, the organs of reproduction, nothing comes close in my reading to Genet. Number 8, the hands work. Here I've chosen Dickens because he did basically work himself to death on our behalf to produce all those wonderful novels and going on his speaking tours and doing his performances. So yes, poor Charles Dickens, dead at the age of, 50 something. The legs, fitness. Here I have a great candidate too, who may again be a little obscure, but show me someone in better physical condition in the whole history of literature, world literature, than Yukio Mishima, the Japanese writer who famously committed ritual suicide. Look at a picture of him topless and just think about how strong he was. Imagine him having a fight, a dust-up with Proust. That would not be much of a battle, would it? He was an accomplished swordsman as well. Hemingway would be finding a hiding place if Yukio Mishima came a-knocking. So there, I'll choose him, not just for the legs, for the whole body. Number 10, the foot, travel. This one I really found the hardest to answer. I'm going to choose a rather unlikely answer here. It would be D.H. Lawrence again. I really appreciate his travel writing. I think it's greatly underestimated. Not so much the stuff in New Mexico, in Taos, but his Sea and Sardinia, his experience of the Mediterranean, these southern climes, and this affinity he feels for the warmth of this landscape. There's a great chapter about, I think it's called The Lemon Trees, and it's absolutely wonderful travel writing. And then I have the ear and the eye. So the ear, I'm going to choose William S. Burroughs. I'm not probably as huge a fan or reader of Burroughs now as I was during my formative years, when he was basically all I wanted to read, with the occasional J.G. Ballard fiction thrown in. But even going back through them now, his ear is extremely well tuned. I love his satirical takes on lawyers and doctors and professors, but he can also write in this criminal slang really convincingly. And traveling around the world, he picks up these accents too. He has some amusing English accents and German ones too in his work. So I'll choose Burroughs there. And the last one, the eye, it would have to be Vladimir Nabokov, as he said it should be pronounced, or Denton Welch, or W.N.P. Barbellion, who this channel is named after. He was a self-trained naturalist, so of course he had an extremely keen eye for the natural world. Welch had the trained eye of the visual artist, but maybe Nabokov trumps both of them because he can do absolutely everything. And let me see, that is the end of this tag. I did throw out a lot of works there, not all of them particularly well known. It's like another kind of ramble through Western and world literature. I hope you enjoyed it, and with my new graphics that I've added to my video, at least the picture side of things should have been quite stimulating too. So that's all I have to say. I better do my farewells. Until the next time, be safe, be strong, and I shall see you anon. Nanu nanu.